Authenticity in living is something that's very important to me. And as I get older, I'm 61, I'll be 62 this year, I think it's something that becomes even more and more poignant for us. I know that when we get to end of life, one thing that you always hear people say is that they regret not taking more chances, not being who they really knew themselves to be. So I think at the end of the day, we all know if we're living authentically or not. And I think that's always a moving scale. So it's not like you just arrive there and then you just kind of sit in that pretty little authentic palace and just, live happily ever after. I think it's something that you're constantly discovering as you go through. And I think that there's a lot of societal rules. I'm probably of the last generation where we had lots and lots of rules, lots of really ideas of who we were going to be and how we were supposed to live, really prescriptions for what life meant, and who we were both as either men or women, especially, if we lived in America, lived in the South, there were many ideas of, how that was supposed to look, what we were supposed to do, what we weren't supposed to do, how we were supposed to form our families and our homes, the type of careers we were supposed to have, all those types of things. And I think that many people have discovered as they get later in life, that's not really something that they ever really even wanted for themselves. It's just something that they felt like was really put upon them, at an very early age. I know for me, authenticity is a really important subject because I almost lost my life about it. Almost lost my life over it. I was living a very unintentional, very unauthentic life up into my mid-40s. And it was really, and I think a lot of people go through this. I had a very dysfunctional family. Lots of really bad things were happening in the family. And I really became disassociated as a kid. It wasn't until I went through tantric training here fairly recently, within the last few years, that I really started to understand how to embody myself and how I really started to become comfortable with my own space and really discover, who I was and look at all the hidden crannies and the dark shadows and the fears and guilts and shames and all that icky stuff that was always hidden back there. There's always seems to be another room to find that in. Then as a caretaker for my little brother, that was absolutely my role to do that, and I was very proud to do it. But also it allowed me to stay out of my space of who I was and what I needed and how I could live life. And it absolutely changed and altered, what I allowed myself to do and where I allowed myself to go and how long I would allow myself to really, go off on whatever. And life was always about, not only taking care of myself and my own, little family, but also taking care of him and, career and school and all the other things as well. But one of the main reasons I wasn't really living authentic was, I'm gay, and I had married a woman, when I was 19. Stayed faithful to her the whole time. In fact, I didn't even kiss my first guy till I was 44. Literally, when I say I was in the closet, I was deep, deep, deep in the closet. And it took me ruining my own life. That's what it took. It took me being at the end. I literally was at the garage door with 4 bottles of pills and a bottle of Southern Comfort, and I was about to just check out. And luckily, a little voice in the back of my head stopped me, and I won't go into that story. But I understood that I had lost everything, and this little voice said to me, yeah, you have nothing left to lose. So I think for a lot of people, hopefully not a lot, but I think for a lot of people, they get to that point of where they just feel like they have nothing else left to lose but to be authentic. A lot of us are pushed into it. And I know I feel like I was pushed into it, by the universe to become authentic because I literally had nothing else but me left. And I needed to find out who and what that was and what was possible. I knew I no longer had the strength or the energy to go by somebody else's rules or live someone else's life. And the interesting thing, we think somebody else has all these rules and prescriptions for us, and nobody's even really watching or cares at the end of the day. It's not like somebody's sitting up there, is like watching you every move and taking down notes. But, maybe for some people they are, but not for most people. People are into their own thing, so they're not even really watching you. And what I found, it was very interesting, back when I was straight, I had a lot of people who really judged me and who, would ask, and it just didn't accept me the way I was. But when I came out, when I became comfortable, not when I came out, when I became comfortable with myself, it was really interesting because then people treated me completely differently. It was as though because I was uncomfortable in me, others were uncomfortable with me. But as soon as I became authentic and became comfortable with myself, at least started on that path, always on that path, never quite get there, people became comfortable with me and started to trust me more and started to want to know what made me tick more and just were more willing to interact with me in whatever shape, way, or form. And I've discovered that so much in my life that, as I'm authentic and true and open, things that I would have thought people would judge me for, they don't at all. In fact, they almost love me for it. You know what I mean? And I think that they love my rawness and my truth and my ability to just stand in what it is. Like, it is this. That's what it is. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? And so I guess what I'm saying is that it took me that to realize that authenticity was a choice, that it was available, and it also was the last thing I had left. And so that's why it's so important to me, because I know there's probably other people out there who are not living authentic, and I know what that's like. It's not good. It's not a peaceful way to live. And others probably can feel that you're not authentic. And so that is probably stopping a lot of opportunities for things that could happen because people understand where you're coming from or that you're not coming from a real place. People that come from a real place have this sense of peace and this sense of stability in them. When you are always trying to reach this societal marker or some kind of, thing that you're supposed to be that isn't truly you, it's a constantly shifting target. And so there can never be any real peace or sense of your own empowerment in that. That's a complete space of unempowerment. It's a space where it's completely up to something outside of yourself to tell you if you're good enough, if you're worthy, if you're accepted. But one thing that's really amazing, when you start working on your own empowerment, you start working on your own authenticity, you understand your own truth. And what I mean by that, you have your own core set of knowing. It's not a belief even. It's like, I just know. And no one can knock you off that. Absolutely no one can knock you off that. And you don't argue it anymore, because your values and your knowing is not up for discussion. It's not up for, it doesn't matter if someone else accepts it or not. That's on them, not you. So my hope is that everyone out there will look and see if they're truly being authentic, if they feel like there's a part of them that isn't authentic, if they look at that, have the strength and the courage, and find a way to move through that. I'm here to support anybody who's in their true authentic path, looking to see what that looks like. What does an authentic life look like? How can happiness and joy and peace be accessed in this very moment? I think authenticity has to happen for you to get that, for you to be able to have that peace and that joy in the moment. And I wish that for everybody. I'm so grateful for all the things I've been through and the journey. It's truly taught me what is possible and that life is in the present moment. And just been another grandpa rant around authenticity. And so if you have any stories about that or need any help or support, I hope you'll let me know. I hope you'll comment below. Here to support in any way I can. I hope you will like the channel and subscribe and share this if you know anybody that might need to hear it or that would love to be supported in that. And until later, love, peace, and release.